Hoplite, Ancient Greece, 7th through the 4th centuries BCE. As the core of the Greek military from the 7th through the 4th centuries BCE, hoplites derived their name from the phrase to hopla, meaning equipment or tool. Greek hoplites were heavy infantry soldiers, citizen soldiers who equipped themselves when called to fight for the poleis or city-state. In Athens, males from ages 18 to 20 completed 2 years of compulsory military service. When Athens was at war, men up to the age of 60 could be called into action. Other city-states like Corinth similarly formed military forces when needed, rather than have a professional standing army. Training during the first year included wrestling and other activities to build physical strength, agility, and endurance. The second year emphasized military duties such as patrolling, living and manning barracks, and working alongside veterans. Hoplites also spent time doing drills and becoming comfortable with the Phalanx formation, while simultaneously learning how to most effectively use their weapons. In a few city-states, most notably Thebes, a small fighting force was kept on hand permanently. The group of elite fighters in Thebes, known as the Sacred Band of Thebes, was made up of 150 men who swore to fight for each other to the death. The exception to the general system of calling an army when needed was Sparta, where young boys were trained to be soldiers from a very young age. The militaristic nature of life in Sparta resulted in men being hoplites for their entire lives. Because Sparta was more focused on the military way of life, training was more thorough and extended for much longer than any other city-states. All male citizens over age 20 were expected to be members of the permanent professional army. According to Homer's Iliad, hoplites were identified by their spear, shield, and helmet while walking in their tight-lined formations. As citizen soldiers rather than professional fighters, hoplites were required to provide their own weapons. As a result, the quality of armor, weapons, and shields varied by wealth and social status. Armor consisted of a cuirass, a helmet, shield, and greaves. The cuirass included a breastplate and a backplate fastened together. Armor was made out of bronze, leather, linen, or some combination of these materials. Greaves protected the shins. They fell out of use during the 5th century BCE. Round, concave shields called hoplons were crafted out of wood, leather, and bronze as well, with a band on the inside for the hoplites to put their left arm through. An additional strap on the rim helped a hoplite hold on to the shield as he went into battle. Shields were about 3 feet or 1 meter in diameter. They protected soldiers from chin to shin. Sometimes these shields carried special designs on them. Famous examples include the Gorgon from Greek mythology or the inverted V of the Spartan hoplites. Spears known as doru were made out of wood and the blade made out of iron or bronze. The spear was about 8 feet long. Hoplites also had a short sword known as the xiphos, which was made from iron or bronze that was used only when absolutely necessary, such as when a spear broke. Swords were about 2 feet long, making them less useful than a spear in battle because they had a shorter reach. Bronze helmets included cheek guards and a nose cover, essentially only having holes for the eyes and mouth. Helmets gave soldiers limited visibility. Hoplites focused on their own actions instead of their neighbors, but were also unable to see an enemy approaching from the side or the rear. Everything a hoplite carried, collectively known as a panoply, weighed between 45 and 70 pounds. A large majority of hoplites were accompanied by a slave who carried the rations in a basket, along with bedding and a cooking pot. Slaves also acted as attendants to the wounded. Hoplites were divided into regiments, and when they went into battle, they formed a phalanx. The phalanx featured lines of tightly organized hoplites, numbering 8 deep. The phalanx moved as one unit, with shields lining the outside protecting the collective body. Extended spears kept enemies at bay, while music from a nearby flute called an olos dictated the pace. Due to the structure of the phalanx, with the shield covering half of the man to the left, the formation generally moved with a slight angle towards the right. Therefore, sometimes it led to the left flank of the phalanx breaking formation first. Canny opposing commanders would put their best troops in their own right flank to encourage the opposing army to break. Once the front lines of the phalanx came into contact with an enemy, the group stayed unified for as long as possible. Once ranks were broken, hand-to-hand combat ensued. Phalanx was a successful military tactic and an effective psychological weapon. At the Battle of Marathon against Persia in 490 BC, the Hoplite Phalanx proved superior, with sources, albeit exaggerated ones, indicating that Athens lost 192 men and Persia lost 6,400. Hey guys, check out this simple history merch on Teespring. There's t-shirts, mugs, stickers, phone cases, and much more. Link in the description below.